All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. What a difference a year makes. The Los Angeles Rams just finished off a 10-7 season where they lost by one freaking point to the Detroit Lions on the road in the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. What's crazy is, and like this is taking away from Byron Young and Kobe Turner and Kyron Williams and Puka Nakua, and like three of those dudes were rookies. The craziest part about the Los Angeles Rams season, outside of everything that we saw, was that this was a team that was projected to win like 4 or 5 football games. You know, if you were an optimist, and I'm not talking about like Rams fans, I'm talking about like if you're in the NFL media world or you're a casual NFL fan and you're thinking about the Los Angeles Rams 1 year ago, you had them winning at best probably 7 or 8 football games. And Les Snead put on a masterclass performance with his draft evaluations, and the season started a little bit shaky, right? They dealt with a bunch of various injuries. It's just in general such a youthful, young group. You know, it's past the Super Bowl era. They won a Super Bowl ring. You got to cut dead weight loose, right? And it was so young. And so we saw, 5-6 win team evaluation. Well, they were 3-6 halfway through the season, and they take down Seattle, they take down Arizona, Cleveland, they barely lose to Baltimore on the road, by the way. They finish off the final month of the season with wins against Washington, New Orleans, the Giants, San Francisco to end it, and they lose in a nail-biter to the Detroit Lions. And I'm sure my Rams fans watching this video right now are licking their damn chops. This team is ready to compete. They're ready to contend like we saw this past season, and I don't know why that would change. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Los Angeles Rams' current offseason plans and where they stand. I feel like that rhymed, but it didn't, but it sounded close to a rhyme. Anyways, before we get into tonight's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Rams fans, I got a bunch of Rams content coming your guys' way all off season, especially as we're about to get into fun little draft content, because like we said, it's been a while since they've actually kept their first round pick, so we'll talk about that. But before we get into it, if we could try and get this video to 250 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So Danielle Hunter is one of these players on the free agent market that's really enticing to me, because some team's going to get Danielle Hunter in the peak of his prime, who is as reliable and as consistent as they come, a multi-year Pro Bowl guy. This is a player who, since he's been in the league, has had like one injured season. Consistency, continuity, it's all important in every single sport, but like Danielle Hunter going to the Rams wouldn't shock me in the slightest. I was reading a Bleacher Report article, and they were like, why not make a move for him? Obviously the Rams have a hole on the edge. It's just like, by the way, dude, this defense, specifically their defense, is so unbelievably young. I mean, it's so unbelievably young. The fact of the matter, they were the 19th ranked defense, but we saw guys like Byron Young come out of what felt like nowhere halfway through the season when the season began. I've got Ernest Jones, my star level linebacker still. Kobe Turner, 9 total sacks. Byron Young, 8 total sacks. Aaron Donald, still Aaron Donald. So Danielle Hunter coming to this team is interesting because, like I said, they've got about $50 million in cap space. Danielle Hunter in 2023 had a really solid season. 16.5 sacks, but that edge, regardless of if it's Danielle, regardless of if it's a guy like Brian Burns, it doesn't matter because they're going to fill it, and I would anticipate with such a weak edge draft that they'll fill it in free agency. But folks, the Rams recorded the 8th fewest sacks in the league last year with 41. So if you want to catch up to San Francisco, if you want to make a deep postseason push with Matthew Stafford, who just turned 36 a couple of weeks ago, you got to get an edge rusher. I mean, this is such a young, intriguing defense, but I want like a savvy veteran who's not, 32, 33 years old. Danielle Hunter fits that prototype perfectly. So I'm curious to hear what my Rams fans watching this video right now have to say about that potential move. But guys, at the end of the day, the Rams have such an intriguing core. Such an intriguing core. And the fact of the matter that after starting the season 3-6, and finishing the season 10-7 and losing by 1 point to the Detroit Lions. And I know my Rams fans watching this video have a couple of comments or two to say about that game and its ending. But nonetheless, it was such a successful season for this Rams team. And at the end of the day, dude, Matthew Stafford's still Matthew Stafford. He had a rating of 92.5. He threw for about 4,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. We saw Kyron Williams, my Notre Dame legend, come out of what felt like nowhere. You know, I remember talking about like dudes like Cam Akers to start the season. The Rams just, these youngsters really came through. And like we said at the beginning of the video, Sean McVay, in my opinion, put up a masterclass performance as a head coach. But Kyron Williams played like 12 games this season, folks. Almost 1,200 rushing yards. He had 12 total rushing touchdowns. He averaged over 5 yards per carry. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Puka Nacua, the rookie, like Les Snead right now, folks, he's got a first-round draft pick. He's got all this draft capital. He's licking his chops, dude. He's got $50 million in cap space. He's got a quarterback. He's got some parts of the offensive line. He's got a bunch of nice parts on the defensive line. Puka Nacua just put up an unbelievable season. And we know this, and we knew this, and he lit it up against the Detroit Lions in the first postseason game in the wild card round. But, dude, he had 105 catches, pretty much 1,500 total receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. I still have Cooper Kupp, who they didn't have for the full season, 59 catches for about 800 yards. And then we just recently saw in the last day or so, Demarcus Robinson got signed. He got re-signed. So, you know, I would anticipate the Rams to probably find some type of backup QB, some type of young, intriguing wide receiver, because who knows when Cooper Kupp could be over. But nonetheless, man, the Rams have one of they've got you can't dispute the fact that the Rams have a top 10 young core in the NFL. And with all this cap space and with a first round draft pick, I'm super intrigued by how Les Snead is going to fill that. If he's going to select at pick number 19, I wouldn't be surprised if they traded up. I wouldn't be surprised if they, kept it smart, kept it clean, draft an offensive tackle, some type of offensive lineman with pick number 19. But it also wouldn't surprise me if they traded away to acquire some type of valuable, not necessarily star player, but not necessarily role player. I wouldn't be surprised if they trade the pick to acquire somebody who's going to help them win now and in the foreseeable future. So, the Rams are just in such an intriguing spot. Nobody would have ever guessed that they would have the 8th ranked offense, regardless of Matthew Stafford. You saw guys, like I said, Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua. The draft evaluation for Puka, dude was from BYU. Nobody saw this really coming. And even if you did see it coming, I don't think you saw it at the level that it was executed at. And the fact that this team made the playoffs, the fact that they hang real tight against the Detroit Lions on the road, lost by 1 point in the playoffs, it speaks volumes, man. This Rams future and the Rams present is very intriguing, and I'm curious to hear what my Rams fans watching this video have to say about this offseason. So let me know your thoughts, especially on Danielle Hunter coming to the Rams. But that's it for me. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. If you want more Rams content, you've come to the right place, and we'll see you next time.